things, giving up our worries and our anxieties, and instead just trust God. Give it to God. When we worry, when we're anxious, we are spending so much emotional energy on something that we can do absolutely nothing about. Nothing. And psychologists, I read a survey. Do you know what the number one thing folks worry about in the world today is? And it's through all of humanity. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. And there's not a thing. We can prepare for it. We can get ready for it. But we cannot control it. You know, live for today. Enjoy the sunshine that God has given to us today. If it rains tomorrow, John Johnson, can you do anything about it? Nope. Not a thing. If the weeds start coming up in your front lawn, don't worry about it. It'll get taken care of. Live for today and let God's grace be sufficient. Now this is a good one. What would happen if we gave up television one night a week? 2.5 hours. I don't know how much you watch. 2.5 hours. And we took that 2.5 hours and we called a friend or a church member or a relative who is lonesome. And we all know people that are lonesome. If we visited someone who was ill, if we just got in contact with somebody who is isolated by illness or perhaps by age, you know what? When I sit down, when you sit down in front of that television at night and watch The Voice or watch America's Got Talent or watch America's Ninja Warriors, I've isolated myself. I've put myself in a box. And I don't want to be disturbed. There are a world of folks out there, friends, who are isolated. And they need to know there are people that care about them. The most precious gift we can give is our time. And I think everyone knows that. What about giving up some of the money that we spend on non-essential things? And instead, take that money and give it to the church. Give it to your favorite charity. Put that money that we spend on luxuries into some place where it can help people meet just basic needs. If you look downstairs in the fellowship hall today, John is working on a whole table full of things for the backpack ministry, because we have folks that come to our church constantly that don't have the basic needs of life. Or maybe we could give up judging by appearances and how people dress and how people look. Appearances, and we judge by the standards that the world has set. Instead, maybe we need to give ourselves up to God and let God and His Son Jesus, who is the only perfect one that ever walked, let them be the judge. Just think, if I didn't, if you didn't, if we didn't have to judge, gosh, I'd have a lot more positive energy. I would have a lot more positive energy. And let God be the judge. So that's just offerings to you. You can still have your chocolate. You can still have your Dr. Pepper. But maybe some of these other things might resonate, that might help you. But did you notice that everything that I talked about almost would help someone else too? It's not all about us. It's all about us and our brother and sister. So Lent is still the church season where we are preparing. We're getting ready for Easter Sunday morning. It's a time for us to remember the temptation that Christ went through, the suffering He went through, and the sacrifice that He made. But remember the warning of the gospel lesson to do it correctly. Where it said, be careful not to do your acts of righteousness, your piety, in front of men, so you'll be seen by them. Lent is not showtime. That's all there is to it. It's not time to put how good we are on display. It's a special time. It's a time of prayer. And it's a time of reflection. And it's a time of confession. And it's a time of self-sacrifice. But most of all, I want you to think of Lent in this way. That Lent is a time for us to get ready. To ready ourselves for the absolute ultimate joy that we have on Easter morning. It's the time that we get ready to meet the risen Lord once again. So, it's a time for us to sing wonderful old hymn, those wonderful words of life on Easter Sunday. What are those wonderful words of life? I serve a risen Savior. He's in the world today. I know that He is living, whatever men may say. Easter Sunday is drawing closer and closer and closer. And the preparation doesn't mean going and getting a new suit. It doesn't mean going and getting a new frock. It doesn't mean going and getting, a new Easter bonnet. Easter Sunday is about getting our heart right with God. It's not far away. Are you getting ready? Are you doing Lent right? In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.